welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Liz, aka My Pastel Past, and I do a ton of cozy gaming and a little bit of horror game content here on YouTube. I'm super excited to finally be back and making content, and for today's video we are mixing in Animal Crossing and The Sims. So right now we are making Isabelle into a Sims character in order to make resident services inside of The Sims 4. And let me tell you, this challenge has been so much fun. I will be the first to say I am not the best at making like Sims characters. I love building. I don't really play the game all that much in terms of like making my own characters in it. So this is my attempt at making Isabelle in The Sims, because obviously we need a household to be able into the lot in order to build on it. So why not make Isabelle? I thought of making Tom Nook. I decided not to. I was like, no, I just want my girl Isabelle for now. So that is what we are doing. If you do like this video and you want to see more of me making Animal Crossing characters and builds inside of The Sims, let me know down in the comments what build do you want next. I'm thinking of maybe doing like the Able Sisters or maybe even Nook's Cranny next. But for this, obviously, Isabelle has like the cute little brownish cardigan going. She's got a little skirt. So we're trying to recreate that, obviously, with very limited options with what we got in The Sims. Obviously, I don't have all the packs, so I don't have access to everything. But I feel like in the end, I kind of got her vibe. It's very cozy, it's very comforting. We ended up giving her like wanting to be friends with everyone in the world as like their personality traits, making sure that they're really cheerful, that they like the outdoors, and that they're outgoing. Because I feel like that's who Isabelle is. And we're building on this lot in the town from the cottage living pack. I really like the staircase leading up to it, so I thought it was the perfect lot in order to make resident services. And I do have to mess around a little bit. I end up moving the build back a little bit, and I kind of make like the plaza. But obviously you don't really have anything in the plaza. In Animal Crossing, you can't build on top of it, so it's just like a nice giant chunk of patio in front of this building. But it was a lot of fun trying to recreate this build inside of The Sims, because we all know Animal Crossing, we all know resident services if you play this game. It's like, it's an iconic building. We see it, we know it, we recognize it, we love it. I did struggle a lot though with the pillars. I wanted them to be much thicker and bigger, and I was hoping if I like increased the size of it that it would work. Fortunately, just increase the height. I couldn't make it any thicker, but I think in the end it still worked out really well. And it's always really interesting to me trying to recreate builds from other games or movies or characters, because they have like this uncanny feel at the end where I'm like, I recognize this build, but it's not exactly the same. Like at this point in this build, I struggled a lot. I actually had to ask a friend for help when I was hanging out in a Discord call with them, because the color for the outside of this building threw me for a loop, y'all. Like I would like rotate different colored bricks. I was like, okay, maybe this one, maybe not. I have a photo up on screen right now of what resident services looks like, so y'all feel my pain, because resident services is like this very warm brick toned. To me it looks orangey. It has like an orange, a very light orange color. So that's what I wanted in the brick. Couldn't find it, went for a lighter brick. And then I was like, you know what, forget the brick, let's do the roof. I thought resident services roof was blue. Let me know in the comments, did you think resident services roof is blue? Because I thought it was blue. I thought it was turquoise. But no, the museum is turquoise. You want to know what color resident services roof is? It's purple. So I'm going through this build, I'm setting up the roof, I'm thinking, okay, I got this, it's blue, it's looking great. Resident services roof is purple. Why does it look blue to me? I know it's purple now. Like I looked at it in a bunch of different lights. I had to filter to get purple roofs. I know it's a brighter purple than this, but these are the only options that we had. But it still looks blue to me. Why does it look blue to me? And then again, I'm like, okay, got the roof down, gotta go back. Started out with this brick, it's gonna change again because I could not make up my mind with the brick. Wanted to add more windows that we have more light inside, and obviously within Animal Crossing, we can't see the sides and the back of the build. We only really see like the front side of it, so you have to be like a little bit creative when it comes to it. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, there is a window behind Isabelle when they do the announcement, so it's like, I know there's one window here, but I don't know where any of the other ones are. So this is kind of what we went with. And this is kind of like what the outside looks like. I do change the brick and add a little bit of lighting to it in the end, but I gotta move resident services back a little bit, adjust the roofs, and then figure out what kind of outdoor plaza space I wanted to. The plaza in Animal Crossing is obviously brick. It has a cool pattern to it, but I couldn't really figure out which one I wanted. In the end, I found this brick path had the closest color, but a different pattern, but I ended up just going with it. I figured it's close enough. It's about as good as it's gonna get. And then obviously adding the little railing. Resident Services has like 3 colors on the outside. It's got like the brown base, the brick, and then the white top. So thankfully I could add foundations and I could add a lighting to the top little section. So that was fun to mess around with and figure out, okay, I've got 3 different wall colors for this building. How is it gonna go? In the end, I went with this lighter brick color because I just felt like it fit the vibe of Resident Services more. I wish it was more orangey because I really do think that the outside brick is more orange than beige, but it was as close as we were gonna get. And in the end, I still think it looks pretty good. And now comes the fun part. How on earth did I have like the exact flooring from Animal Crossing in this game? I do not know, but I'm telling you that this little tiles that we have in The Sims is pretty much like exactly the same. And then the wallpaper was as close as I could get. It has the little brown at the bottom and like a plain white. And same with most of the furniture. You can't really get like exactly the same look of furniture or the colors. So we got as close as it could, but it was really fun looking at like reference photos of the inside of Resident Services and going like, okay, they have desks that face each other, and they have like a little counter table on the right that has like coffee on it, and then there's the door, and then on the left there's like the printer and like the little bookshelf, and like so you knew like the key elements going into the build. And then trying to figure out, do I have items with colors that match the scheme? And then trying to figure out like the closest things that I could get to it. Like I didn't find like a side table that I liked for this little coffee section. So I ended up just going with a countertop instead. And then I did use some cheats in this video for this build. So I used the bb.move objects, the show hidden objects, all of those things, so I could get like debug items and whatnot for the build, just so I could have all of the arsenal in my back belt. I was gonna go with the bookshelf, and I was leaning towards that first one just because it had the metal rings around it, but didn't like the color option, so I ended up going to storage instead and found this like storage shelf. I don't know about you, but I have one of these in my garage to store things. So I was like, this is perfect for Tom Nook. Like, of course they would. Tom Nook, we know Tom Nook. They're not classy. They have their bags of money hidden somewhere stashed in the back office. You know what? In hindsight, you know what I should have done? I should have put bricks of gold somewhere on their desk, or like stacks of money. Hindsight is great. If I ever redo this build, I will 100% put stacks of money on his desk. But like, I could just picture this back office or like the basement to Resident Services with like these shelves lined everywhere with stacks of gold and riches, and Tom Nook is just like, yes, we have their debt. They're indebted to us forever for their homes. We've got the money, and it's just like, it's going from there. So now it's the fun part. I've got like some of the core items. I've got the desk, I've got the shelf, I've got the side table. So now when it comes to these builds, it's a lot like my Animal Crossing builds. I'm just trying to figure out, what items do I have? What items fit what characters in this build? And then try to find places to put it. So I'm going through all of the debug items right now because I love debug. Glorious Sims and their debug for building. It's just fantastic. And you know, Isabel is a very like floral character. They have like the little flower on their sweater. They have plants all over their side. So I tried to incorporate as many plants as possible. Got their books in, and I couldn't find a cup, so I used a coffee cup instead. And then because I don't like the way items lock onto tables and desks in this game, I ended up using, I believe it's like the 9 and the 0 to raise and lower items. And then holding Alt so it's not stuck to a grid. That way I could place it on. These are the things that I love about building in Sims, that we are not limited to placing things on a grid. And then I go back to building an Animal Crossing and it's like, no, you can only place this item here and it's gonna look like this and it's not gonna fit anywhere else because it's stuck exactly to this grid. Oh, you wanna move it a half tile to the side? Well, too bad, you can only move it 1 full tile to the side. So I kind of wish we had the ability to do that in Animal Crossing, but at least we can do it here. I couldn't find much for coffee cups for this little area, but there was a long time running joke in the Animal Crossing community that Isabel's little cup of juice wasn't juice, so we're putting her drinks onto the side there as like a little nod to that part of our Animal Crossing community history. Oh, the good old days in 2020 when this game first came out. We all had theories about what was happening behind the scenes of resident services with Tom Nook and Isabel. And obviously for Isabel's side, it's just a lot of books. They've got the lamp. I'm gonna add a little bit of a microphone later for the morning announcements. But Tom Nook's a little bit different. Tom Nook's got their computer, they've got this little pencil thing, and obviously they've got the fan. I cannot believe that I found a fan in this game that is this close to what is actually like in Animal Crossing. It was like, this is amazing, this is perfect, we've got a fan, and it just fits. Like, it fits so well. So I was really happy to see that. I tried so hard to look for a whiteboard though, because you know, they've got the little whiteboard behind the desk, and I couldn't find one anywhere. I could have sworn that there's one in this game. Maybe there's one in Animal Crossing, I'm getting them confused. But instead, I went for a map, and then I put a clock up because I figured it fit. Also learned that there is no printer in these Sims, so instead I used this little computer recording setup. I was like, you know what, if we can't have a printer, we can at least have a recording setup, because that way they can do morning announcements and control the audio and the visual of it all. Because you know, Isabel's always on point and on time with those morning announcements every single day. And again, I totally thought I had that little bundle of flowers that hangs upside down. I realized that is a thing in Animal Crossing and not a thing that I had in The Sims. So instead, I went for like a little wreath instead in the end to place here. Why? I thought that I had like, we have this little bundle of wreaths, but that's like 4 and the height just didn't work. So I went with a wreath instead. But this is the point where I build in so many different games that I get confused on which items are in which games. I'm like, know that there's this item, I've used this item before, and then after the build I go, oh wait, no, that's not this game, this is XYZ game. And so it gets very confusing after a while to figure out which items go in which games. And now it's my favorite part. We get to add the clutter. Adding clutter into builds in The Sims is just the most satisfying and most beautiful thing ever. Like, I'm gonna place books on top of boxes on top of photos and just like add everything and anything I possibly can. And like even just something about adding the photo on top of like the little filing cabinet there on the shelf just made my heart so happy, because that's something that Animal Crossing could never do. Like, you could never add this many items onto a shelf into Animal Crossing, and that makes me kind of sad. It's like, you got one item on the left and you got one item on the right, and that's it. You can't place any more. I'm sorry, but your slots have been taken up. And then I did hang a few plants from the ceiling because, again, it's Isabel. I figured like Isabel would have like their own mini garden. And of course I added the mystery door into the back that leads to nowhere, because even in Animal Crossing, it's just a door. We've all been wondering what is behind it, but no one really knows. I mean, I have theories. I think it's Tom Nook's little money room where they hide their little stacks of gold, but who knows? Like, No one really knows. Let me know in the comments if you want me to attempt to make Tom Nook's little secret hideaway in the back door there, where they hide all of their gold bars from all the debt that we get into. But now we have the countertops, and again, it's not all the way like this orangey brown color that we're used to, but it's still really cute. And I had to get really creative with this area because the countertop in Resident Service is like iconic. You know exactly Isabel and you know Tom Nook's side, they have like the little placemat icons that shows like the map of the island. And originally I was going to use tablets to kind of simulate the, picking options and whatnot with the characters. Like you can go through the dialogue and pick your choices. And I was like, nah, I don't really like that. So I thought, what if I put a table through the countertop to make it look like a placemat and like kind of the same color that the placemats, I call it placemats, I don't actually know what they're called, in Animal Crossing would be like. And it worked really well on the right with the blue one to kind of simulate like the island and more nature. And then I wanted Tom Nook's side to be a little bit more rustic. I ended up going with the black. I wanted something brown. It just didn't work. But it's like simulating this is the construction side, and then this is like the nature-y, let's work with the resident side, kind of to represent the two different zones of working with it. And then because I didn't have like a crafting table to put right where Tom Nook is, I ended up taking some of the doll houses that you could have children play with in game, and I shrunk them down to use them as like little replicas for the counter that Tom Nook could be like, you want to upgrade your house? These are some options. We could have like a second floor or a basement. And I'm just picturing like our little villager sitting there and Tom Nook pulling out these replicas and be like, this is what your house could look like. And then once that counter's done, I started looking for options to put in for the Nook stop, and I actually got really lucky. I ended up finding this ATM. It's actually a stolen ATM, but I think it works super well. And I also found a dumpster that's yellow that works perfectly for the recycling bin that we have in Resident Services. And then just adding a few extra trees around the outside of the plaza, and then also getting the little lanterns that we have on the exterior. And then here it is. This is the final piece of the outside. I know it doesn't look too exciting from the outside because again, I didn't want to place anything in the plaza area because technically we can't really build in the plaza in game. But then here is the interior. We've got the countertop where you can go speak to either Isabel or Tom Nook, and then we've also got the little back office that we can see past the countertop. We've got the shelf that Tom Nook has, the computer to replace the printer, their desks, and obviously their little drink area, and the little recycling bin or trash can that we have here, and the stolen ATM for the Nook stop, which I absolutely love. I feel like that's very on point for Tom Nook. But here it is. This is the final build. If you do like this video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to see more of my content. And thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye!